Alright, so we get right to the swing of things, as it were. As usual, we gotta make sure everything's all ready. We got infantry in our motorized forces. And good morning, Patriots calling. Call to have you fully a man who knows that the interest for the nation zone. Benjamin Nazi needs your help, as communists are pulled to subjugate our beautiful nation to interests. He is of the run for the good of the country as we enter hard times. The Sultans are required to preserve Ukrainian independence. And so, if you decide what is best for the country, we call upon you. Child of the head of great, but purified national republic awaits them. Indeed. Gotta purify our republic as national. At least for the time being, you don't know. That stuff going on into there. Kind of interesting that force that we got going on. See, let's get just about one thing of that increased. Yo, that's squared away. Got no resource, but that's fine. Got a boys over in the monument as inter. It's gonna be quite another thing over here. I'm not gonna really read these. But over here, we're only going to get involved with fucking whatever the hell else we could be doing. So, may as well. I don't know that particular leader. Swamp deeper than we thought. To no one's surprise, the president of Ukraine was controversial, but Mykola Ignovsky about to see his president, especially why he was up late at his desk reviewing the report of the law of preserving his declaration of martial law. They did hear it all. Did no one else in this country easily see the pawn behind the attempt to oust him? So soon after he declared occupation of Libya, before his old adversary, the USDRP, knew them very well. They were Spartacus, Polenophiles, traitors, led by Mark Brzezinski's lapdog, Steve Pelura, and the sweet Tagyovony Volychenko. God, both our foreign puppets. If we could just lower shaft our poor collaboration, would have been done already. But being better knows to follow Ukraine to the pin and shoot him. Chingo was no better. Her brother radical called the ancient utopian naive dare. Still a touch indeed. Then there was the unofficially the biggest nationalist party in the country, and unofficially Ukraine's biggest mental asylum. Even Colonel Valets was almost bearable, the grandee of the old guard, but he was keeping a little reservation leaders. All of them still supported his temporary dictatorship, and now he saw his views confirmed on the intelligence reports. The Bandera tonight saw as a means to displace Konovalets. Still, Madero was a good patriot, where his men were practically terrorists, and Bolton and Tinich would probably go down in history as a national poet. But it was clear that Knights as a Sun guy wasn't just a silly name for artistic circle. Cultists and killers were his way into the party, not much of a choice. Lads with the Communist Party banned like a position, of course, but arguably the most repulsive Bolshevik ready to serve their Moscow lords. Texas and Mykola Semenko, the current leader of the UKP, were especially reports of. He wished to eradicate Ukrainian culture from the face of the earth. Chinko and oil has been nothing to him. He used his rival as some patriarchs turning against the Russians. Blueprint which is running the UKP was probably more insidious. One couldn't have rest without learning the others. It really could have followed another decision developing. These are social revolutionaries and liberals of UNDO. With 2 weeks, 2 paralyzed or 2 supportive in the matter. The people suddenly aware how narrow path he was treading. Walk carefully so as not to drown. Indeed. Below our old father knows enemy, he's a man cruising with hubrism, and depending on what you ask, I don't know corruption he uses. We can't, of course, let him go but him disappear instantly. Would have raised his supporting army, so we'll keep him at arm's length from actual administration. We probably praise him. He's the hero of liberation. That is merely simple, and he should be left in this form. The public we can take out of the closet when we need it. And dead, of course. Especially for the kind of rest, so you're not gonna read that. I'm gonna read what's relevant. And yeah, I'm gonna like him. No, I didn't bother with that. Yeah, that way my voice doesn't give out over here because, you know what I mean? That's probably a thing that's gonna happen if I read. So we need to be pragmatic about our pragmatism. Revolution. Murphy, whom the older person was seen dictated claim. Simply welcome his volunteers have open arms. Pinowski almost wished he had been grieved with a fist fight, but he had no choice. Even though he knew he couldn't keep Pillow, he could stop Pillow's adventure. But there was a way to tarnish the image of a national hero, at least to the people who mattered. It just so happened that there was evidence of duplicity on the open. Well, Peluria was a whore that paused was open secret. Or to the prison, however. Yes, Peluria, we cut the chichanky down to business. Sure, what do you want from me? Pinowski voice suggested down the hall to the living room. Soon the two old men were seated across from one another. They were pouring this for a drink. The president swallowed the vodka and left before speaking up. I know that you conspire against me, and you know that I can't do anything against it. Apart from what? Offering you a deal. You try not insignificant portion of the drink before continuing. What do you think about taking some time away from politics? I'll offer you some funds and protection in this crisis, and you leave attacking me to the others. You both stay out heroes in the independence of war, and nobody gets hurt. Hilira was unreadable. The GP was probably known to him. And two both knew that they weren't sitting across from a fool. Sounded interesting, but what song are we talking about? Let's say $7,500 cumulative. Ooh, that's a rather big sum. I don't think you ever do with you now, do you? No, but I can have a contract. And I was sending to deliver the money to you tonight if you sign. The idiot retained Pinot said nothing would stop him from breaking the pact that the money arrived, and he knew that. Pinowski knew that, and vice versa. Old Rico was crafty for suddenly desperate for allies. Two guys who betrayed each other, but how long could the situation stay secret, and how would his allies react if he couldn't explain it to them first? I don't think so. Thank you, Sir President. Flesh was bent over to governmental bribes. First time in forever. You know, we got the nationalist storm. The organization of Ukraine nationalists is made of nationalists like us. But unlike us, they are naive, untasted, advocating for a great upheaval to turn Ukraine to a modern country. So that we need to keep denying them. Or the youthful energy could be exploited by the communists to destabilize the republic. We could operate for now, but we must be prepared to cast the least with the dustman of history and absorbing the more malleable men from their ranks. Yeah, very malleable men. About as malleable as you could possibly get from, trying to do some political machinations like this. In the middle of Ivy. Rico spent the next few hours thinking about how to settle the matter. We all know it would be easiest to figure out if he could call up one when he had a gunpoint the rest of the party, and of course complete his credit them as collaborators of his schemes revealed. Take them all down with his ship, he sank. Then there was the mentor Dimitri Donitz. Donitz almost seemed like natural allies. At least young Republican revolutionaries, so by the Christian spirit, ethnic nationalism, and social form of state. Two already confident in themselves, but there was too obviously ambitious in Donitz of national collectivism for the harsh-haired breast-shot communism of the poorest nation. The young firebrand was a diplomatic catastrophe when ready to senior Greece Star Wars to the Russian Far East after they were caught committing terrorism in Poland. Of course, everyone would sense hope fervently for the Green Ukraine to break the yoke of Muscovites and Harvard was spent there seriously considering adventure across Eurasia. Madness. But speaking of menace, the alternative of the older knights of the sun god under Volodymyr and Bolin and TH. Ancient Ukraine civilization that war against primitive Russians, returning to paganism, Crimea is a seat of hyper-advanced soul civilization. The rest of the unrest flee to the side of the knights somehow found a way to power. What a laugh. For the less laughable matter was a nice took inspiration for the French got at least in Polish Ruga. The former one knights and socialized economies are like the seed of natural tragedy of Ukraine. But they were too easily to become uncontrolled threat against them. Mildly scratched his head and glances the window across the room. It was dark outside, but he could see a smart crowd protesting against him. He was a little smaller than yesterday, but that meant their ranks had gone to the ground. Better catch the snake now than let him the barrel to strike. He scratched his head again, his mustache and slowly pulled out to the official snap and the shoulder. Finally sighted, bent over, leaned power there. Was a vital one. No place for national anarchy. It was ultimately a mob destructor without even grasping what they destroy. To understand that a truly effective program must be surgical and not some configuration that alienates citizens and destroys the infrastructure. The new Ukraine must place a firm hand on this nationalist form of anarchy. Suddenly, there is no place in Ukraine should be eradicated with the Ukrainian race, but we're smart in this. No truth to the organization. They're very smart with the programs. But that's how we get big brain stuff. The biggest of brains even. The most most within what else we got going. Let's see, consolidation of a common interest. We had some opinions on that. The only government share priorities, we cannot allow them to give move what they are next reserve for military against the trade unions. Pull the Russians trying to get ourselves a slavery tech dog by giving it one of small influence on our security. By the Lord, he not only pay for itself in securing our state. Of course, I mean to my own buddies, and he's gonna be a fan of that because you know, supposed to be friends in this, but we need to be a friendly buddy, pal, chum. Let's weigh the turntables, probably. Sure. I got like a fucking misread those numbers, so I got. So interest now with unsale. Let's do build problems pawns. Checkmate. Use USPRS and UKP are two faces of one coin. Earth's economies from both of the colors, although their friend both being heresies of Ukraine that threaten the nation from within and ultimately into the German overlords. The international over a second or third has no place in our national political if the UPSR presents itself as a part of Ukraine working and farmers. True intentions to fuel German imperialisms and they must be denounced. The UKP on the other hand only proves international cosmopolitan revolution should be banned outright. And I deal with the right way as it were. Means you know the Bolshevik terror. Whatever that may be. Checkmate. Minovsky, together with his bodyguards, went to Lochu to see his Minister of National Security, Gilbert Mikhailovich. It took seconds of us to wonder if he should have seen someone else instead. Gilbert barely got off on his chairman with the help of one of Minovsky's bodyguard officers and to locate a trembling seen out hand. Minovsky gave him a farmer hug. And the boys sat down at the table while the president trying to think out how soon they need a final replacement. So let's get started. Minovsky to produce a dossier on his comments flowers. He went to react from over for himself and asked the people in small quietly. Yes, we should get started. President raised an eyebrow continued thumbing through the portfolio. As you know, Samiko the current UKP has like a more personal but as a secondary concern. He's more a Robespierre personality, I would say, naive and pure, futurist Poland and political remnant. I'm told his ambition quite literally includes space, so much love for the stars and none for the motherland. Foul shores expect him to be a city or easy to go need a party just giving his distaste for the countryside. Okay, great. But what about the second person? What's his name? Can't remember. Kaganovich. His name is Kaganovich. Little night log for a communist. He keeps it vague inside the old Bolshevik movie he was part of before he came home. This probably within you could be a potential more dangerous and what I think that. Because less dogmatic than Samiko. He's gonna make eyes. Then I see a natural survivor when I look at him. What does not stay relevant in the movement for so long and through so many failures like being cutting? Even before my said he was co-opting the old National Congress to his side. Now you're probably behind someone when the peasants are operating for there. Okay, now I understand. To be perfectly clear, if we arrest one of them, the other side may gain more influence, right? Because survivor one time organized this faction, right? That's what we took away from this? No, we should get rid of understand anything you're saying, all responsibility will be outsourced again. Still on the kids again easily a friendly fighting with clarity. Maybe if inspiring a new generation. Yeah, bitch. Dominance. No, I've got some social conservative reforms over here. Like we need each survivor flag. The flag is yellow and blue, not white and red. Communists from KKS, Poland, and Berlin are quietly undermined the whole notion to incorporate us. Image our plots and who the most loveliest mastermind segregation are Poland. First, we ban the unions of traditional bastion of red subversion, and that there is no reason for us to safeguard Poles for our patriotic supporters. Should be allowed to flee if they desire, and there should be no place for acting against such vermin. What's behind the sand? See, we're not like completely fucking. What is this? Yeah, it's a fucking. Yeah, pagan dude. The red pagan. Basically. So I've achieved. Let's see. Brotherhood of Socialism and Freedom over here. Get the conservative along with the others and DSL stuff. And leftist stuff basically. Even if we are anti-communist or full-throat nationalists, we're not bloodthirsty capitalists. We allow poverty and charity from communist excess, but our party is allowed to learn from this, by example. In designing our new socialist order, this Prussian face of Ukrainian socialism is a good representation of what we want to achieve. We will strive for revolution in red reaction. We will allow more welfare, lower the hours of work day, and improve the condition of workers by establishing universal health care. Yeah. That's like Prussian socialism basically. We're not completely red. Why not, make some socialist moves? That was the original game power. And Savoy, he's speaking of Reds. These generally provoked the followers owing to arms and they caught them with train, but he's eventually the from reasonable as possible. Hence, we see the massacre. So I'm going to start that overview very soon. Here then we'll need not a country for soldiers, although we got plenty of soldiers. We live in the army stuff over here, which sucks. But damage high polluting laws and officers and contact families with their own hopes for approval of public. This is not for that back, and we need to take pains to ensure it does not find itself sticking to us. We will preach militarism, and we need brave young men to defend our country. It's time to publicly take a side against a political army in the middle influence. It was a mistake to include them within La Rada. That could be said by every power or Democrat goes this movie. Look at that. This niggas feel probably about that Zinski. I've seen him like a few times actually, but not really super often. Like sometimes I see him for the most of the time you don't. The micro scene anyways. To see exactly how that's gonna pan out really. Soldiers. My political economy nuts. To find Shaba's colleagues, the USDRP, the Dublin Marxist Party for one, and likewise the UPSR and the UKP work against the interests of Ukraine. Even the UPSR leads Vladimir Nichenko calls for Ukrainian social democracy, a small step in a great lead to communism, both eventually leads to the same place. The human history with alien to the Ukrainian spirit of liberty and tradition. We can approve of progress and ideal staff, but even cooperate with the government. But the USDRP must be suppressed. Free Korea, Korean independence. Guess there's a bit gains, more gains onto that. Please. Oh, we got none. Step by step to victory. But still revolutionary. Our goal is soon attack our course heading towards a national social state. Now that achieve the now see step by step we achieve victory. Almost intended to drink away every success we achieved. The abolition of democracy that holds back our country, we have already prepared the people to exit for tomorrow. A really portion international. We must do over now with another for certitude. We can open another very epic. What are you in here? Well, in here they're doing they want this over there. There's no way. Life, faith, and soil. And we'll see how Lynn home to this thing. With that. Choose a Victoria, premium Victoria. But it's not going to last long if you know exactly what we're doing. Permanently, you're seeing once again that below a chair. This time he wasn't looking at the man about point, but as I want to get purchased as soon as the protest outside disappeared. He did because he was himself first mark people on face what felt like the first time since the fight began. About the car shouldn't be very much flowing into the flying that's where you kept the marines swishing the vessel around to create the contents. It raises the Bertos. For me, for Ukraine, for the Kenny less. So to work into emptying the contents and once we gashed their palace, so what victory meant. He noticed to see the nation and played with all his foes into one another with Machiavelli and grace. Nothing can stop what's coming out from Ukraine of his dreams. Nothing will stop another glass for that matter, or another bottle. Because also the last few months came point out the old bastard lose too late to push him aside like he did in the defense war. Have the commerce wanted to run, even though one had seen reason. There's a person that protests or anything to go by. You don't forget the newfound peace. Our lovers. So whatever the Ukraine was far from over. And this will be a crime. And what duty way? Staying up to a war, start building up your army, breaking the foe from the without. Hell, his story might as well have been just beginning, but at least news of fight from Russia was promising. For once, who had time for the mission, but you need to say something else began to play his mind. Kind of doing boots on the floor into his office over here. Look at that. Look at that. Coup of the century. The British are failure. The woman actually assumed Paloy was a simple. I'm going to take out war and pain probably was just and look. He didn't even know what hit him. When the entire structure built under his nose, arrogance blinded him to a coup developing as well. How much it undone Ukraine to his role. And now the first chance to rebuild the structure he's left, unfortunately. But we will start somewhere. Yeah, we gotta start somewhere, folks. We want the victory. We all gotta get shit together. Shouldn't have victory do legionnaire things over here. Get that. Moscow was sorry that the Grand Army stood in the office by that time in the attacks of Wales last. Who are you? The others were formed smothered rage hand grasped me to silence. He spoke suddenly. We are your end. In the name of the Ukraine President Tamu, you are under arrest. According to know the party alcohol, but not more he feels as though you are honestly his own tragic play. But there's so much effort at the corner's way back into power. You want a lot to just work, you're rather patriotic for he told anything, but he found himself only even a murmur. Then it was just slowly out there and grabbed him by his shoulders, and then he found the courage feeling he was looking for. Who sent you? Peluria? Bastards, hands off, cocksuckers. I thought the effort to entrap him. Seemingly gone back to the old tricks, Andy. The revolver could be recalled when go quietly, not again. For the curtain before you turned deck one soldier in the nose. Mel last I had a certain nobility to it, full blind indignation. Pinning around to leap onto this kick of wild to avoid being grabbed by the other soldiers. In the freakum, the finisher quickly tipped over and brought him back to the floor where he gave a good amount of himself. Joe knew he had to be taken alive for a spectacle of a short trial, but was turning the moment to a bloody farce. Measured over that clever sleeve frustration, one saw her snatch an empty bottle of wine broken over the corner's head. Someone else to find Charles at touch of fidelity. The officer swayed to his feet, took 2 steps toward the ceiling and plunged into the coffin, bleeding conscious. Look at sad relief, the soldier hoisted him up and took him from the fence and departed last time. Look at the chickens before they hatch. Indeed. But you never know when the chickens be come and go. Anyways, we're gonna get rid of the social conservative form and we'll get some of that popularity for this stuff back. If we want checking the cars and not anxious about Pelora return to power once more, but it should not be. There's nothing to be scared of. Pelora is simply the head of a provisional government that will manage Ukraine in the affairs before the election. It won't be long at all. It could be thankfully believe another clean up after him. What a generation. Pelora will surrender his power once he no longer needs to worry about safeguarding democracy. Probably. Probably. Maybe potentially, theoretically. Who knows? We'll see how likely that goes. Radical direction. What is the direction? Yeah, we shall see. See, red to red, ashes to ashes. Let's see. Regardless of the original president, Volodymyr Vinnichenko was truly in the man while going for a walk in the park. Seeing below on the hand came on, the other man employed 200 respected society that really feared to take out his life. Yeah, respected a fear creating a money where you want to go with the baggage of your constitution. They were sent bureaucrats. Well then, any night me and I have difficult enough to crack, my friend. Both here let off the tree momentarily, yeah, this had to be about the new government. It'll be growing and files found locked into the ground as the two proceeded. Field gazing there, as far as naivety, Vinnichenko was a different sort of politician to read. It was clear that his friend was carrying some sort of weight, pushing going harder but more of a sorrowful at the same time. Eventually he lowered himself both sides. Where is it now? Waiting to find a voice for it to be buried his colleagues for. You see, Simon? I don't know if Ukraine is ready for you to go in again. Our whole party was almost dragged into your plan last time. How do I know it was not some moves of power for you by you either? So that was it, wasn't it? One last rupture with an ally. Blood found himself angry and expected as he rose on the fence before I could get a handle on it. Finny, do not ever suggest that I'm another McNasty. Be more serious. We'll probably put a war other than the USDRP. I assure you, I'll find a place for you somewhere. Realize I deeply really a cow and looking into the sky. It all seemed familiar, didn't it? But ready to go point come up now. I doubt the USDRP will be enough for you to rule the country if so. We can't go it alone once again. Not a chance. People demand assurances. But we begin to not understand the birds on the to this park. Practice can be salvaged. How about the kindness? More than money, you're looking for someone to ally. Have we incorporated UKP to our government? Perhaps it will be a sort of Socialist People's Front or whatever we'll call it. We didn't make eye contact, but something impossible to do it. And what if they are the ones who absorb us? Yeah, I'm sure you saw us. Then that's when we'll worry. But tell me, what do you think of it? Do you think vulnerable lives? What arguing with that in the state? Perhaps we'll do an albert type of politics and see when it was spirited and answer. I don't know. I think I would tell the comments that the USDP will cooperate. There's a Warsaw. Alright, it. Be letting tomorrow know that the situation under control for anyone does anything too rash while we have a disagreement with Poland. Since the civil orders breaking down my opponents in the army or worse, rushing to invade. Towards what Polish might help fund development in other countries in the modern shared defensive priorities. Or instead of order and coin providing, Polish will return but to open the door to. Yeah, we gotta reconnect over here after, all the shit that we got going on over here. That's what should be doing over here. Well, like directly in the middle too. Very much I'm curious to see exactly how this is going to be explained upon once the big old update, big old rush up in Windows and all that. You'll see. There's a big Mr. Phone affair and the public opponent's about Slay when he saw the Queen out of his office. You know, sooner or later will come to this, but Lord's government needed a blessing of Warsaw without money and without support. They were too many uncomfortable for his dance for the last few years. He got from a train shook hands with both Ukrainians before coming across his arm and getting down to business. Well then, gentlemen, how about you to see me? The Ukrainian embassy is very contactless and Minovsky saying to the president. What would you like to drink? The Ukrainians were perplexed, but reasonably sure that Beck was torn with them somewhat. Taylor delegation spoke up. No, thank you for your offer. However, Mr. Beck, we come to ask for funds in the public government of Simon Valora. I cannot speak. He would have closed eyes and murmured. It was nice to be right. He opened them again after listening to the interlocutor's brief statement and saw him to the seats. He sat down in front of him and his tall desk and looked practice superiority. Valora, the scoundrel lives again. Good for him. Just tell me, what will you give us for this support? You know our good old friends in power. It's the embassy that allowed Magnitsky to threaten our relationship in the first place. We can't throw more money around left and right like this, especially at the death of our marshal. Ukraine signed an understanding, then not a second time towards his companion. Signed open the full documents, and didn't take long for Beck to get out what they were. Model would tell you on the tape the banderas, the order of Sun Guard, and the old guard. All of it. He was giving a cursory look while the Ukraine continued. You know that you, Mr. Beck, would assess contestants. However, please consider the extent step on Bandera and Slug had posed as a target before all else. Each can react. The same can be said about these madmen in the order. They can try to worship the sun and preach conquest of the Carpathians, where they hold a sacred land. The handlers have to drive the constable profit, but you make us laugh fools the own way. Beck snored, though. Who about was anyone's guess? Amusement, incredulity, appreciation for the intelligence of it. Myself certainly wasn't a favor of the comments, at least. Would be enough. Looking to feel agonizing more reviewing the file, he was clear to unanswered. I was reading. We understand reducing the price. Yeah, we're not going to sell this up. You are going to expose him to lies. Well, Minovsky was never the most charismatic person to you, and he was not without force as far as this. There was a concern they might do something in reaction to the. Why? Wait. But Minovsky's black legend begins now. Depending on the worst thing to do happen, this country into memory. In trade veneer avoided. Very. Support of him should be stigmatized and encouraged to keep their complaints private. Let them be announced in the same tone as we announced it when we do the link and I shot. That was a collapse. So got this over here afterwards disintegration. And Sam doing Sam things. I'm curious about how Siam's gonna be doing. Then they got like puppet states over and around here. More likely if they're able to do a little bit of expansion out over here. A wee bit of expansionism. Because I think they're one of the big players in Asia. Especially after Japan falls. Anyway, over here with the visual government employees, we cannot break the champion out just yet. Back from the Ukrainian part, like the UPIS and UKPR, of course, the US DRP. You can only get a chance to return to business as usual. We don't know what the future will hold our dear country just yet. We can say that we hope there is a bright one. The abolition of Minovsky is clear of all the walking to the future of the Ukrainian state. There goes King Carol II. Summer cool war over here. They're going to be cool in the war in summer. We have Finland over here right after that. I have no idea who's going to come on top of that. We shall see, won't we? We shall most definitely see. Hide them in the virtue over here. Look at that. Probably center left in Europe. Yeah, like any other. But see, you want to keep with the bureaucrats recruiting the streets of workplace and mystery to first few people could fall caught in the road of trouble some themselves. But if they got metal steed around him to get anywhere in the city, it's fairly new Muller postcard distributed at the time. CWSTA and severely faithfully since 1991. Don't know Kiev so early to make it on team with a dread, so we turned on the radio some future experimental musical playing. She might have liked, but at least it kept them from falling asleep. Finally, you know something strange. A group of soldiers in the army truck headed down the road quickly as they can press the badge. Even after Minovsky, it was the usual side. Quickly was on to take a detour as they found someone to initiate conflict to avoid catching a bullet. All this was to show force for the new government. So you generating toward the presenter, Spider City. Boy, was that all to get a better idea how the morning would go. Breaking news. Phony or thought that time not the ataman pillar as the card. There's still emergency. The government research system that there's nothing to be afraid of. It is recommended that all stay home and off the streets of the capital during the realization of government. Now that's Pillar declared the liberalization, legalization, opposition parties, and the free press will take place. While state accession will last for a number of months, it is believed that the result will undo the direction of President Nazi. Once again, the fall of our independence has shown its merits. With the help of faithful allies, we will return to normal soon. The law of South Bolivia. We begin. Pillar turns to the seat over in here. We're going to read that over here before we end this off. Over here, so we have 30 minutes. Well, we might as well at least read this. The only line to return to its proper place, Ataman C. Pillar has conquering hero of the Ukrainian independence war has become president once more. Despite his role in the creating the modern state to the country, his attempt to emulate the poorest nation model government was a step too far from many ultra-nationalist communists, liberals, and even his own party opposed him at times. Against the Polish resistance, the Lord Commerce, the USDF, Pillar is back in power. Peter II of mission to take drastic measures to stability Ukraine. Looking at the result, the persona and deeds of Pillar have many willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Once more, he's a cheeky charge to say to your countries, not for himself, but for the benefit of all Ukrainians. 18 the Brumaire all over again. Yes, it's looking at French Revolution stuff over in here. Well, that over here, we're going to get right on to the swing of things. Once the swing of things get right on to it. Oh, yeah, look at that. That's going to be quite a thing we got going on over here. It's going to be something interesting, I think. So, yeah. Till then, we're going to delve into this later. That's the next part. I guess we'll later, so. Till then, see ya. Bye.